First things first, I'm going to be featuring your OCs and their lore in an upcoming video. The catch is that first you have to become a D1 Glazer. These two videos need a shit ton of views before I even start writing the script. So if you want to be considered, start meat writing expeditiously. Sorry, I'm usually not that perverse. I have a bunch of videos that I have sitting in queue that I'm supposed to be making, but since I have strong feelings about the subject, I figured I'd put those on hold for just a moment to talk about this. Sorry, TADC, I'm gonna have to pick on you. I know the fandom is like hypersensitive to criticism at the current moment. I'm still gonna say what I have to say. People are allowed to criticize things. Like, I made a reel not too long ago, there's a good chance you've seen it, where I kind of was like, Gooseworks better not let anything bad happen to Caine or I'm not gonna be happy. And then I had a couple of dumbasses acting like me not wanting anything bad to happen to Caine meant that I was trying to bully Gooseworks, as if they've never heard anyone indirectly ask the creator to spare their favorite characters. I woke up with a bloody nose because my allergies have been so bad lately, so I'm very sorry for not putting this more delicately, but you guys are genuinely stupid and you know it. Anyway. I've always considered myself a casual viewer of TADC. I made a couple of TADC related reels that got weirdly popular around the time that episode 8 came out, and I got a shit ton of followers who were presumably TADC fans, but it's like, I'm probably gonna move on in the next couple of weeks, gang. Yes, I am going to be watching the last episode, in spite of what I said, but regardless, I appreciate the follows, thank you. Anyway, as a casual viewer, I definitely enjoyed the plot, but wasn't terribly invested in where the story went. I became a little more invested after episodes 4 and 5, but yeah, I would usually just watch the new episode when it dropped, engage with the fandom for like a week or two, and then forget about it until the next episode dropped. The show had some pretty strong writing early on for sure, but it's starting to weaken in some places, specifically with Jax's character, and people are definitely noticing. So Jax's character is nothing new by any means. He mistreats the people around him in the name of comedy because it's the only way he knows how to cope with losing the people closest to him. And like, none of this is real anyway, so why not? We've seen this trope time and time again, and even if you step away from the TV for a second, many abusive people in real life typically act the way that they do because something either happened to them in their past, whether it be they experienced some kind of trauma or because they witnessed the behavior in their formative years and genuinely think that it's normal and acceptable. The former is what we're here to discuss. So it's clear that losing Ribbit and Kaufmo really did a number on Jax, if episode 7 is anything to go by. The show definitely implies that they either both abstracted because of him, or they may have shown signs of abstracting and he ignored them until it was too late. And I won't deny that that is a huge burden to be carrying on your shoulders. It's no wonder why he almost abstracted himself. So it makes sense why he pushes Pomni away when she tries to get close to him in episode 6, because he's afraid of the same thing happening again. So that's fine and dandy, but it doesn't excuse how he treats the other cast members, which, reminder, are mostly women. I think a big reason why I and many others have zero tolerance for the misunderstood abuser archetype is because, well, it exists in the real world too. I can't tell you how many times I have had someone be blatantly awful to me and somebody else rushed in to defend them. Like, oh, they're going through a lot right now, their intentions were good, just look at it from their perspective, they're only a teenager, they don't know any better. That last one was especially egregious because, man, we were the same goddamn age, don't mansplain maturity to me. I fear that having gone through something is no good reason to treat someone terribly, and while I'm sure that TADC knows this, and isn't necessarily trying to excuse Jax's shitty actions, the fact that he received no consequences whatsoever for pushing the button in episode 7 is very alarming. I understand that they have bigger fish to fry, but there is a way to put your differences with someone aside in order to achieve a goal without completely brushing past their actions. I know everyone and their mother has said this, but this show was in desperate need of more episodes, for a lot of reasons, but another one being, in my opinion, they should have spent at least half an episode talking about the fact that Jax pushed the button. Like, you know that episode of Amphibia, where they're going through the first temple, but Anna's also being, like, extremely passive-aggressive towards Hot Pop for hiding the music box, and then at the climax they, like, talk about it? I think they could have done something like that. Because regardless of the fact that nothing actually happened, he blatantly showed them that if the opportunity were to arise, he would not hesitate to screw them all over to save his own tail, so to speak. Even if Jax doesn't actually apologize, after all their grievances are out, they can then decide that they have bigger problems to attend to. And then let's talk about the fact that Jax seems to think he's the funniest person alive. The thing is, and a lot of die-hard Jax haters that this video definitely attracted will disagree, but prior to episode 6, I actually did think Jax was really funny. I still do, if I'm being honest. Like, I may not like him, but I can acknowledge comedic timing where it is present. I'm sorry. Okay. Simple turn straight. Oh my god, ow. They're the two most mentally stable and capable characters. Oh my god, this show's humor. Okay, anyway. I really did like Jax back then, mostly because I did think he was funny, but then the second that they gave him a backstory, I was like, never mind, not interested. However, a majority of his comedy happens to involve tormenting the other characters, which he justifies as, well, none of this is real anyway, so why not? But we can see that even though this may be the case, his behavior does affect Gangle and even Ragatha psychologically. Gangle, who is very clearly neurodivergent coded, and Ragatha, who grew up in an unstable household, being his main victims, is definitely, something. You're just like me for real. Humor is supposed to make people laugh. If you are the only one laughing, I fear you are just an asshole. I can't stand being the butt of the joke because that's the excuse that people fall back on when they go too far. Like, oh, I was just kidding. I don't think you deserve to live. So where do we go from here? And before any of y'all come in my comment section and start talking about, well, Lasso, I feel like you just don't like mean characters. Wrong again, idiot. I do like mean characters when they're well seasoned. Like, it's one thing if a character says something really mean to somebody and, you know, nothing comes of that. Just like letting the character get away with overly malicious behavior. Like, it's like you're adding way too much salt to this character. And assault. And insult. Let's move on. So does this mean we shouldn't write abusive characters to be three-dimensional? No, of course not. As I mentioned above, this is often the case in real life. Everyone who's ever done me wrong most definitely was fighting demons behind the scenes. Hopefully those demons drag them back to hell where they belong, but I digress. My issue is when writers almost coddle these characters while leaving the victim to do most of the heavy lifting with repairing their relationship or the redemption. And I do get it, writing abusive characters and exploring why they act like that is fun. But honestly, all my sympathy goes out the window when the show starts to try to convince me that because this character is sad, I shouldn't be too hard on them. I think that's why the scene in episode 7 bothers people. Like, the very least Jax could do is acknowledge he doesn't deserve their grace. I know he knows he doesn't. And with one episode left and so many questions to answer, I have a funny feeling that Jax has pretty much gotten away with what he's done, and that's really annoying. Of course I could be wrong, but let's be honest with ourselves here. The burden of mending things should be on the person who broke the relationship in the first place. There is absolutely no reason why the person who was done wrong should have to be the bigger person. Why should I be forced to forgive someone when I'm not even sure if they want my forgiveness? To remain morally righteous? Give me a break, you're gonna drive me insane. I really hate the fact that society places far more responsibility on the shoulders of the victim as opposed to the perpetrators. It is gross. Like, it would be one thing if the victim decides of their own volition to choose forgiveness, but they should not be pressured into it. And honestly, even if the abuser grows and learns from their actions, they still shouldn't have to forgive someone who hurt them. We don't talk enough about the fact that trauma literally changes you as a person, and it can take forever to get back to where you were before, if that even happens. Like, you can't just hand wave that away. Obligatory, I don't think that Gooseworks is a bad person or trying to perpetuate harmful ideas and blah 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 blah, but ultimately it's okay. The show can absolutely make it up to us by making Gangle and Zooble canon. Like, I'm not gonna be gaslit anymore. You cannot tell me that they're not in love. Why would Zooble want to have sex so badly if they don't have a specific person in mind? Because they just want to jack off? No chance. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. Thank you guys for watching. I'm currently in school, so it might be a little while before my next video, but I will do my absolute best to get it out in a timely manner. I will see you guys later. Goodbye.